one time, ironically, after a conversation with my parents about how harassment doesn't happen to gay people, it happens to everyone. As we were walking out of a really nice restaurant, I was holding my fiance's hand, and two guys yelled at us, "Hey, want a threesome?"
Fun.
Yeah.
My dad many times. Like, he called my girlfriend really bad, my ex-girlfriend, like, terrible names, and he made, like, really bad jokes whenever I was gonna go hang out with her. And, like, yeah. But I did definitely get targeted. There were two administrators at the high school that I went to that, like, I won't name names. But there was one specifically who would kind of, like, follow me and the girl that I was dating at the time. Because, you know, it's like high school, people, like, are physically affectionate in public. But I never went that far because, like, it's gross. But, you know, we would, like, hug and, like, kiss or whatever on campus. Like, not full-on make out, but we were obviously dating, and we would be affectionate. And he would kind of, like, hover, like, before the bell rang to go to class, when I'd be standing with my friends with my arm around her. There were times that I'd be standing with my friends with my arm around her, and he would just, like, stand behind us and be like... But we weren't doing anything that we could get in trouble for, so we were just kind of, like... And it was just this weird thing. So it was annoying, and I never really gave him much thought. He just kind of bothered me. But there was one time specifically where it got out of control, where I was heading to class, and our two classes were different directions. So I gave her a hug and a kiss, and I see him kind of walking over, and I was like, ugh. So I just went to walk away because I didn't want to deal with him. And I'm walking to my class, and a friend of mine runs up and is like, "Hey, he just grabbed your girlfriend and, like, took her to the office. Like, I don't know what just happened, but it looks like she's in trouble." And I was like, and then the office called me, and I went down there, and he was in there with her, and I can't remember if it was the assistant principal or the principal, but it was one of them was sitting at the desk, and the administrator had told them that we were being unreasonably affectionate, that we were making out with each other and groping each other, and that when he came over and asked us to split it up, we got lippy with him, was the word. I didn't even speak to the guy. I saw him walking over, and I was just like, ugh, and I walked away. We did not speak. I heard him say nothing. But his saying was that we were being completely out of control, and then when he was like, "Split it up," we were like, "No!" It was super weird. And at this point, my girlfriend is, like, super mad, and so I just kind of was like, "Shh, I will handle by being rational." And I told him and the principal, like, "If you said to break it up, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. I literally didn't hear you say anything. I didn't think that we were being inappropriate." And he was like, "You know you were being inappropriate. You were making out." And I got a little bit too smart and was like, "My tongue was in my mouth. I didn't, that wasn't making out. Like, it was appropriate affection." And the principal got really mad. Like, I don't know what was going on, but it was basically because I wouldn't admit that I did anything wrong. And it got to the point that he started kind of yelling at me and telling me that I knew that I did something wrong, telling me that I knew that I was being inappropriate, and I was like, "No, I didn't do anything inappropriate." And he started, like, leaning over the desk and being like, "You know that you were being inappropriate." And I was like, "No, I don't. Because I see what the kids do around here, and I know that I'm not being any more inappropriate than anybody else." The problem was that was never defined. What was acceptable was never, ever defined, which meant that if someone didn't like something that you were doing, now it was inappropriate sexual misconduct. So, you know, there was nothing in the handbook that said, "Oh, well, you can kiss as long as your mouths are closed but not open. You can hug for this long but not this long." So when I'm saying I'm not doing anything inappropriate and he's saying you are, I lose. Even though I saw all the straight kids practically making babies in the hallway. So I got upset. Basically, I just stuck to my guns and was like, I didn't do anything wrong. I did not do anything wrong. I was not being inappropriate. And so we ended up getting written up. We both got referrals, and what was written on my referral was insubordination for not breaking it up when I was told to. Not sexual misconduct, because I wouldn't admit to it, but I was insubordinate. And I was like, okay, so it would have been sexual misconduct if I'd admitted to it, but because I fought you, now I'm insubordinate.
Uh, another person I went to high school with who was on a SkyTrain, and he was being verbally harassed and physically threatened, I would say. He wasn't like abused physically, but definitely verbally. And a girl he was traveling with tried to step in and say, like, this, he didn't do anything to you, like, this is none of your business, can you, like, get lost, please? But she was met with the same aggression, and the SkyTrain police got involved, but they didn't do anything in favor of my high school friend or anything. It was just kind of like, mind your own business, you should have brushed it off, sticks and stones, all that kind of a thing. But like, it makes me mad, but then I'm thinking, like, what else could be done other than like finding the guy? I don't know, because he didn't physically assault him. It's just harassment. So, I mean, harassment charges, but okay, sorry.
If we could educate people more, make them less ignorant about, that being gay or being whatever, queer kind of thing you are, it isn't like a sexual deviation. It's like who you connect with. It's who you make that romantic connection with. It's not about, well, you have sex this way, So I think education is going to be super important in stopping ignorance.
People are people, so we should just respect that. I mean, I don't really... My mom raised me to be a super, loving person. My uncle is gay, and he has a husband he loves very much, and, it's just not even, in my realm of comprehension to understand the kind of hate some people have, because there's, no point to it. It's so stupid. Out of all the things in the world, you're gonna choose, that kind of stuff to target with all your hate and bad energy. That doesn't make any sense to me. There's people starving and dying, and you're gonna, previous to gay marriage being legalized, you're gonna combat two guys, getting married over, hungry children.
We're either on gay people are getting murdered and it's impossible to be gay and it's horrible, or everything is absolutely fine, why are you complaining? And we are right here in the middle right now, and nobody's acknowledging that. And I really wish that people would acknowledge that. As a gay person, I'm so tired of hearing nothing but bad stuff about the gay struggle, or nothing but good stuff about how far we've come. Acknowledge how far we've come, but acknowledge where we need to go, and stop the pity party. I'm so over the pity party. And all we can do to further that is to educate, to talk people through. I've had friends, I've had multiple friends who came from very religious backgrounds, who did not agree with what I was doing. One of my best friends in high school, I won't go into names, she was a Mormon, and did not believe in gay marriage. She did not think that it was right. And she was a very close friend of mine, and I asked her why she thought it was right. And she said, well, according to my faith, it's not right. But that's my faith. And I was like, she completely understood that that was her opinion that she was allowed to have, but she had no right to push it on me. She personally didn't agree with it, but she wasn't rallying against it, and she wasn't trying to get people to keep it away from us. She just personally disagreed with it. And that's fine. And it never affected our friendship, believe it or not. It used to hurt my feelings, but then over time, I realized, this girl has no problem with me. She just has a faith system that it is a value of hers that only men and women should be married. Just like it's a value of mine that we should all have equal rights, but neither of us are crossing streams here, and we're respecting each other, and we could have a completely respectful conversation about it and come to understand each other better, and she was allowed to have that view. And you're allowed to not like gay people, and you're allowed to think that the whole thing is stupid or weird or a perversion or whatever. I am not here to make you love gay people. But what I am here to say is it's not your problem. If you don't like gay people, you do not need to engage in a gay relationship. You don't need to get gay married. But what I would hope is that if you have a child or a best friend who is gay, that you wouldn't let your personal opinion damage them. and that you wouldn't rather someone that you love be miserable and stay hiding for the sake of you not feeling a little bit uncomfortable. There are plenty of things that people do that make me uncomfortable that they are completely allowed to do, and I would not get in the way of them doing. Why does it matter to you what color curtains I have in my house, or how I keep my lawn, or what kind of pets that I have, or who I'm dating? It is just as important to you, like where I bought my shoes, as to who I'm dating. None of that is affected.
It's hard because, you know, it sucks because we influence the people around us. And if you were brought up to believe certain things and you aren't an easily changeable person, unfortunately it means that, like, no matter what someone says to you, you're not gonna just be flippant about it, right? I wish I could just change people's minds about these things, but, like, I can't control what they feel, even though it sucks and it's horrible. We just need to teach our kids that words and stuff like that, it just has its consequences. And unfortunately, those consequences, a lot of the time, are life or death. And I don't think everyone really understands that even if you aren't physically threatening or emotionally traumatizing anyone with your specific words, your words fuel other people who will physically intimidate people, and unfortunately, a lot of the time it leads to, LGBT suicides, and it just, I can't even, I don't know. I don't have an answer. I wish I did. Yeah.